What's up, people? This is William Jones making videos about leaving religion. The purpose of the videos is to get you to think. Turn your brains on and think. And use logic and use reason and realize that religion is fake. What's up, people? Coming to you with another video. I know it's been a while, but here I am. And just to ramble a little bit. Had some thoughts today when I was just thinking about the urban apologists when we had that whole thing going on in the group in Facebook, and I decided to check on them, see, what they're lying about now. So I go and check some of them out, and they're not really dropping videos at all. I don't know what's going on, but they're not dropping videos unless the people around them just waking up, because I don't know how long you can defend a lie or defend a myth. I mean, really, how long can you continue to defend this myth in 2025 with all the information we have and all the access to that information? I mean, people around you, they're hearing you defending your faith, but the information you're using is getting old, has been exposed, and at this point, Christianity is really just people who they were raised in it, and they're just not going to change. They don't care about the information. They don't care. They just going to believe it anyway. I've talked to folks. I don't care what you say. I'm going to believe in God. They don't want truth. Not everyone wants the truth. It's those that want the truth that end up coming out of the religion. So that's basically how that goes. So, I mean, if they want to stay in it, then you let them stay in it. That's their choice. You got a right to, stay in the myth if that's what you want to do. So, one of the ones I happened to see was, the urban apologist Damon Richardson. And for whatever reason in the world, I have no idea. I guess he really thought his information was solid, went against Richard Carrier. Now, those of you that might have watched Richard Carrier, he knows his stuff. And he did the whole, did Jesus exist? And one thing about these Christian apologists is they will take a crumb and try to make a cake out of that crumb. Because they love to throw up Bart Ehrman. Oh, Bart Ehrman said Jesus is historical. They love to say that. Oh, this person said it. And they'll use terms like, most scholars agree that Jesus was historical. That's a lie. I'm saying they lie by saying most scholars agree that, but y'all are not listening to what those scholars, well, when I say y'all, I mean the apologists are not listening to what those scholars are saying in full. You're treating them just like you treat the Bible. You pick a piece out of here, you took a piece out of Matthew, take a piece out of Luke, take a piece out of John, take a piece out of Mark, and you Frankenstein it to make it say what you wanted to say, when that's not what it's saying. So Bart Ehrman says somebody's historical. Historical has nothing to do with biblical. So if myths were based on an actual person, so be it. I mean, we have that today. But stop running with this whole thing. They say and people that believe it, when they say he's historical, that automatically means the Bible is real. Well, if he's historical, then wouldn't the other gospels about Jesus be real too? I mean, what are we doing here? You want to make real what you want to be real? It's not true. Bottom line is, for those that don't know, Jesus could be historical. If he is, so what? The one thing they won't say, and this is the deciding factor. This point right here is the deciding factor. Jesus wasn't divine. So it doesn't matter if you had some person preach the Sermon on the Mount, or he said a few good parables. The miracles didn't happen. Those are things of myth. But one thing we know for certain, and none of them will say this, I'll say most scholars will agree Jesus was not divine. They won't say that. There's nothing wrong. You can base stories off of a person, but to say that they were born of a God, or they were the offspring of a God, that's not true. And that was something that was done back in older times. It was something they would do. Like Alexander the Great said he was the son of, his father was Zeus. Because he conquered so much land. He was unstoppable. So, son of Zeus? No, we know he wasn't. He's not a Hercules or a Dionysus. He's not a half man, half god, a demigod. Come on. It's not real. Who else? Augustus Caesar. He deified Julius Caesar after his death in order to say that he was the son of God. Titus Flavius deified Vespasian Flavius, his father, so that Titus could say he was the son of God. And in fact, Titus Flavius, by some people's accounts, is the Jesus figure in the Bible. And if we look, there is actually a book in the Bible called Titus in the New Testament. And in Titus, the book of Titus, chapter 3, verse 9, and Christians will take this out of context, and I know they will because I used to do it before I had knowledge outside of the Bible. Verse 9 says to the people, he's talking to, he says, but avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition, reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. What is he saying here? We know people always attributing themselves to be the descendants of gods, and more than likely at that time, since we know they spoke in Greek, of Greek gods. They wanted to be descendants of Greek gods. So he says what? Avoid foolish questions and genealogies. So that doesn't mean avoid genealogies of real things. Just when people saying they're because if you're going to be a monotheistic religion, meaning you have one God, then you can't have people claiming the gods that people believed in that day and say they were a child of, because you don't want to acknowledge any other gods in what it is that you are creating. You want them to believe in your God, and still trying to wipe away, El, the father god, wipe away his wife, Asherah. You want to wipe away his children, Baal, and the other 68 children that they had, and then just merge El and Yahweh and make one God, and Yahweh was a son, and then make one God. So in order to do this propaganda, you got to edit the book in a way to just say there's don't forget. See, we don't understand the genealogies because we didn't live back then, and we know if somebody says I'm the son of Zeus, you wouldn't believe it. Even though people can walk around today and say I'm a son of God. No, you're not. There are no gods. They're all mythical. In 2025, they're all mythical. And if anybody that believes that mess, just go down the rabbit hole and actually read the actual research. Read about the artifacts that proves that the Bible is just a book of stories. It's a book of what they want it to be from a conquered people. A conquered people. If you notice in the book, they are conquered. With this whole narrative of we was on top, we had the kingdoms and all of that. Back then, if you had a kingdom, some of y'all have seen 300. One of my top 5 movies. I'm just going to put that out there. If you've seen 300, if there's a kingdom, another kingdom is coming for your kingdom. Because there's always somebody, just like Alexander the Greek, who wants all the land. They want to rule it all. Most of the empire, they became empires because what they do? Somebody's got a kingdom over here, take it over. Take it over. That's what the Assyrians did, right? That's what the Babylonians did, what the Medes and the Persians did, what the Greeks did, what the Romans did, right? Rome took over a whole lot of land and made it like Rome. That's what they did. But Israel, that didn't ever really have a kingdom, who was more of a village, were always servants throughout the Bible. It was like, oh, David. We don't have any actual evidence of no large kingdom of David. He could have been the king of a small tribe of people, but there's no evidence of some large kingdom that he held. It's not there. And anyway, when the northern tribe and the southern tribe, the Judah, because you had Judah and you had the Israelites, and that's where you get Jews from Judah. You know, all that was wiped away because folks came and invaded it. There was nothing you could do. That's why you read the book. If you actually read the Bible, the Old Testament to be specific, First, Second Chronicles, all of that. The Israelites are always slaves to somebody else. No matter where they go, they're always subservient. Which is why if someone would actually go through and look at all of the places where they were in, I don't even want to say slaves, but they were a people in a place greater than themselves, and they picked up the culture of the land that they were in. So let's just say, which is I can't use Egypt because that's not true. That whole Moses narrative, Moses is invented. That's not real. So I can't use Moses. But let's just say if they were captive to Babylon, then you're poor, and all y'all would learn is the culture of your captors. Think about the transatlantic slave trade. People are Christians today. Why? Because the slave owners pushed Christianity on the black slaves. And today they defend the whole Jesus thing when he never delivered them from nothing. They had to do their own civil rights and everything to get out of it. I mean, the whole Abraham Lincoln and the whole story, how, you know, that's history I don't want to get into here, but I'm just saying. Bottom line is, those slaves that we follow in Christianity today, why? Because the slave owners pushed that on their slaves. So let's go back further. You go back to Babylon. If they're ruling everything and you're in the Babylonian community, you're going to learn all of the myths, creation myths and stories of things they did. You're going to know about the Epic of Gilgamesh, and they will eventually learn about, you know, Homer's adventures and all of that, and many other mythical stories, because they were subject to these people. So when they get out, what happens? What are the stories that you write? The exact same stories they've been telling because you believed it, or you accepted it and it made the people subservient. Because religion really can get people in line. You know, they did a video, sidetracking, they did a video with little kids. And in the video, they had little kids in the room and they had them throw a little Nerf dart at a board. And they had them in the room by themselves. And when the kids were in the room by themselves, they had a camera in there anyway, the kids would go and put the little Nerf thing on the bullseye. When the adults came back in, like, oh, you got a bullseye, okay. So then they went and put an empty chair in the corner, and told them that some person, some invisible person was in that room watching them to make sure they didn't cheat. The kids didn't cheat. When they thought somebody was watching them, they acted totally different from when they thought no one was watching them. So they actually did it. They wasn't hitting the bullseye. I'm just saying. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. That's God. That's God. Some people think that's Santa Claus, but Santa Claus is grown people God. It's the same person. Grown people God. You grow out of God, and you grow out of Santa, and you graduate to God. Because the adults will accept that you don't believe Santa Claus coming down the chimney, and that's why you ain't get what you wanted for Christmas, because we couldn't afford it, and we really buying that stuff. They accept that. You cool with that. But when you say, well, God ain't real, whoa, hold your horses. Now, God is real. Well, prove him any different than Santa Claus. Because the Bible says, and one time I was looking for my car keys and I didn't know where they was. So I prayed and said, Lord, show me where my car keys are. And I found my car keys. If you'd have looked for your car keys without praying, you would have found them car keys. So what we talking about? So now God is the God of helping you find car keys? That what he's the God of? He's so powerful, he helped you find your car keys that you misplaced in your home. Ooh. Now how about if you left him somewhere and he directed you and you left him way out, we found your car key. No, you just gonna end up getting some new keys. But if he's just helping you find car keys in your house, that's enough to believe all of this nonsense? Come on. I'll give Hercules even more credence. Think about this. We still have the Olympics today. And the Olympics is based off of Mount Olympus, where the Greek gods lived. Zeus, his wife Hera, their children, and all other gods. And Zeus is, I ain't gonna get into all that, but Zeus, his brothers, sisters, which his sister was his wife was a sister, but all the gods lived there, and that's where Hercules ended up going after he did his labors. Hercules was the child of a mortal, Alcmene, and Zeus. Half God, half man. And when he died, he went to Mount Olympus. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds like Jesus. Half God, half man, dies, goes to heaven. But the Hercules story, or the Heracles, which one you want to use, Greek or Roman, is older than the Jesus story. So the divinity of Jesus is just not there. We haven't proved a God. We have not proven one single God. People go by experiences. And that's how I know. They bypass the Bible. They bypass all of that theology. All of that is bypassed now because they had an experience. Now my experience supersedes the theology. But y'all don't get, or they don't get that the reason you believe the whole Jesus thing is because of the stories in the Bible. So you don't read or know anything about the Bible, but are 100% dedicated to God and Jesus. And when I say God, the God of Yahweh and Jesus. Ask most of them, what's the name of your God? God. Like God is a name. God. What's his name? God. It's not a name. I've said this before. You can't go into a place, you DoorDash, looking for person. I'm looking for person. Where's person? What person? Human. I'm looking for human. Where they at? No, you gotta have a name. And God ain't a name. Because we got a lot of gods, and they got different names. No, there's only one God. He's the one true God. Zeus? Odin? A horror monster? Who are we talking about here? Which one? Which one are you referring to? Be specific. It's like the Vatican got all that material in there, and they say you can see whatever you want to see if you can call it by name, but if you don't know the name, well, how can I call something by name that I don't even know exists? So therefore, I can't see it to study it and check it out because I don't even know it exists. So you got to come in there and give a name, and they can bring it out to you, and you can check it out. So when you say God, and see, and because people's bubble is so small when they say God, like, oh, don't, when somebody say, oh my goddamn, oh my God, don't use the Lord's name in vain. It's not a name. If I, oh my human, they wouldn't say nothing. What you mean, oh my human? But when I say, oh my God, oh, don't use his name. God ain't a goddamn name. God is a title to the mythical God of the Bible. There's many other gods, and there are many other gods mentioned in the Bible. You got Diana in the Bible, Baal, which is the God of the Bible's brother, and he's demonizing the whole thing with the prophet Elijah, and the 70 prophets or whatever when they poured the water on the sacrifice, all of that. Baal is the brother of the actual God of the Bible. Well, it's hard to say that because you got El and you have Yahweh. El is the father, Yahweh is the son, Baal is the son also, and Asherah is the mother. So in the beginning when they said, in the beginning God made the heavens and the earth, it really says Elohim, the gods made the earth. When they said let us make man in our image, let us. Every time they say us, the Christians think, he talking to Jesus and the Holy Spirit. There was no such concept of what. First, Jesus wasn't invented back then. He wasn't even invented back then. And the Holy Spirit wasn't invented either. So let alone the Trinity wasn't even invented to be thought of. That's some new stuff that came along. And then they say in Revelations, it says the great serpent, Satan. Now that's written way down the line. Then somehow you think that this serpent is Satan, and it's not. It doesn't say that. You're assuming that. Most of the stuff they believe in the book, what they do know, is assumptions. It's assumptions. It's not what the book says. Read what the book says, not what you have been taught. What is it? So you start reading the Bible. They don't tell, before you read, they're going to tell you, we believe this, we believe that, we believe this, we believe this, we believe that, we believe this, we believe this, we believe that, we believe this, and then you read the book, and you overlook what it actually says because what it's saying doesn't line up with what they told you you're supposed to believe. So you overlook what it actually says because they told you what to believe before you read the book. Or as they say, you put the cart in front of the horse. So the horse ain't pulling the cart is in front of the horse. So before you done told me what to believe before I get there, so I overlook everything it actually says, and now I gotta look stupid justifying what it actually says. You gotta look stupid, well, no, what it means is, but you pass out tracts to people and say, well, no, this means what it says. What about this part? Well, no, well, it says that, but what it really means is, so some parts, according to their tradition and what they believe, or theology, some parts mean what it says, and some parts are mysterious, and they don't.
I just told you that.
So, Noah,
Yes.
hush. I'm in a house full of people. I'm in a house full of people. So all I'm saying is, apologists be lying. They be lying. So, and I don't know how long they can hold this lie up or how long. You know, these churches is trying to keep people coming to church. And if it's 2025, if you still getting God and all this information out here, and people been telling you you don't want to look, that's on you. You want to get God, then you're getting God because you want to get God. People watch, and I doubt how many Christians went this far in my video, so I doubt, I mean, how many people actually went this far, I'm just saying, but I doubt any Christians went this far in my video. But if they getting God, get them. Shoot, you don't want to start it? Get them. Like Ray Man said on How High, get him. He telling y'all he want a $40 million jet, get him. Y'all want to get him money? Get him. I have seen acquaintance of mine. They got a part-time job because when they paid the tithes, it cut into their money. They have enough money to pay their bills, so they got a part-time job so they can pay the church and pay their bills. I can solve that simple. Don't get the church no money. You got the money and you giving it to them. But turn the tithes and you need some help. See, they could pass the plate and get your money, but when that money had to come out of that plate to back, the money you put in, when they had to come out of that plate back to you, there's a process there. I've seen it. You got to fill out paperwork and stuff on what's going on because we ain't gonna keep doing this. You're gonna keep giving every week, but we ain't gonna keep doing this. It's an insurance that doesn't do anything for you. Now we have car insurance and health insurance and life insurance, which will actually do something for you. But that's an insurance. That's an imaginary insurance. It does nothing for you. For real. Nothing. And what if, just hypothetically, sidestepping, what if you was in ministry for 15 years and the church folded and you had to go out here into the job world and they say list, you make a resume, list your qualifications. What do you put down that you have done for the last 15 years? What are you qualified to do? Qualified to hold past the Bible, qualified to hold the pastor microphone. I'm qualified to be his security. I mean, what are you really qualified to do in the real world? Following a myth. You might replace, at least if you had Hercules as the God, it'd be way cooler than Jesus, who just gets smacked around. Well, why did you smite me? Why did you smite me? I can't find one parent. And I ain't saying they ain't out there, I'm just saying I ain't found them. I said, what if, I mess with women with this. And you know how when, like my mom, I went to like 6'1", 6'2" real quick. And they was like, he tall, and she's like, I can still reach him. So then I asked her, I'd be like, what if your child bucked on you? And you know, especially how black parents act. What if your child bucked on you? I brought you in this world. You know how they say that. I don't want to say too much because AI be going through my stuff, deleting your videos and whatever. You know the rest of that saying. But parents be like, you ain't gonna be putting hands on me. I'm the parent, you ain't putting hands on me. That's not gonna happen. So you mean to tell me you created these folks, you make all the rules, but then they can torture you and kill you just like they did everybody else. It'd be one thing if Jesus was the only one that was with the cat of nine tails. It'd be one thing if he was the only one. They did many people like that. It'd be different if he was the only one that had to carry his cross up the Golgotha. Others was doing it with him. It'd be different if he was the only one being crucified. They crucified thousands before him. So what made his so special? Oh, the Bible. A book that can't be verified. Just be believed. Just be believed. And then, I'm going to say it again, I've said it so many times, the letters of Paul, the 7 original letters of Paul, or attributed to some character named Paul, came before there was any gospel. The letters came first. And Jesus was not an earthly character. He was a celestial character. Like we look at the star, it was celestial. All this stuff happened in the celestial. Then the first gospel shows up, Mark. Mark comes and makes Jesus Christ an earthly character who had no childhood in the story, no childhood at all in the story. He starts at the baptism. And Jesus received his magical powers. Jesus was not the Son of God. Jesus was a regular man in the book of Mark, who received his superpowers after John the Baptist, who we later find out in other Gospels was his cousin. But not in Mark. Come on. So, if I'm wrong, maybe wrong, but I'm just saying he wasn't his cousin then, but John the Baptist was more popular than Jesus. He should have been the Messiah. But anyway, John baptizes Jesus. Jesus come out the water. The dove, which is the Holy Spirit, lands on him. He get his superpower. Now he's super Jesus. He ain't Jesus. He's Jesus Christ. He got his superpowers. The voice. This is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. Like, you got the superpowers. Now you're my son. Like Zeus put the power on Hercules, or like when Samson needed strength to knock the pillars down, you just received the power from up high. Now you my son. Go do what you got to do. That's what happened. Later, and mind you, there was no one named Mark that wrote that gospel. The gospels had no name. The names were attributed later. Then later, a gospel that went later under the name Matthew comes and copies Mark. It copies Mark, but let me back up. The thing about Mark didn't have, Jesus didn't show up after Jesus didn't come back he came back from the dead, but he didn't deal with anybody. There was no dialogue. He didn't talk to nobody. He came back and it says the women fled. Read it in the last chapter. The women fled. They were scared. They talked to no one. That's what it says. Boom. That was the end. Somebody came along later, and then Mary Magdalene went out there. That's not a part of the original manuscript. That was added later because they ain't like the way it ended. The book, the Pinocchio book, was it Pinocchio? Yeah, Pinocchio book. People didn't like the way Pinocchio ended. The author had to write another book. He had to redo Pinocchio. People didn't like the way it ended. Same if you ever watch Lost. Lost ended so stupid, the TV show. You ain't explained it. They ain't explained the time, you ain't explained the smoke, nothing. It was stupid. Explain what was going on with it. What happened with the numbers? The numbers going through, got to keep resetting this thing all the. Anyway, back to that. It wasn't enough, so people want more to the story because the religion is growing. The cult is growing. So they come back to add some more to Mark. Mary Magdalene came out there, talked to Jesus. Jesus got some commandments. Read your footnotes. It'll tell you this stuff wasn't in the original. So Matthew come back, what he do? Add on the whole virgin birth thing and all that nonsense. He adds that on. Add on some more stuff with Jesus after his death. He did all this talking and nonsense. And then whoever did Luke did his part, attributed to Luke. But his birth story ain't the same as the one in Matthew. They not the same, because one of them they had to flee to Egypt, the other one they didn't. It was two different stories. The genealogies don't line up. And it's not the same. But Luke took from Mark also. So Matthew took from Mark, Luke took from Mark, but they made their own, they added some extra stuff on. Years later, they get this new book come out and they put it, we're going to make this to John. And everybody assumes it's John, who's a character in the Bible, just like they assume that Matthew was the Matthew in the Bible. It was neither one of them because they didn't exist. John book got some stuff ain't even in the other books. He got stuff they ain't even talking about. He talking about the was that Matthew talked about the dead coming alive after the resurrection? Was that John? That might have been him. I think the Lazarus story is in John. But the stories don't line up. But the Paul stuff is out there. The Paul letters are out there. And they're eating up the chart. They up the chart. Everybody loving it. They loving that. Then you got the gospel come out. They loving that. How do we connect the letters with the gospels when they ain't saying the same thing? You write some fake letters. All that 2 Peter, 1 Peter, 2 Peter. You had a 1 Peter. What was 2 Peter for? 2 Timothy, all this. What's all this 2 Corinthians? All some of this stuff they just add something. They just doing like, you have barbershop. You got barbershop too. You make a transformer, you make another transformer. You got a Men in Black, you make a Men in Black too. It's a cash cow. That's your chance to connect them. Your chance to connect them is by making some new stuff. To connect, but Paul said this and Jesus said that. So you write what you could, and mind you, we live in the age of information. This is what I'm saying, it's 2025. We got the information. You go back and you're in 400 CE, Common Era. You ain't got an internet. You probably don't know how to read unless you got money. You ain't writing because where you gonna get your writing materials from? When the Bible came out, trust and believe, the Bible wasn't done by broke people. How many people out here watching the video did a CD? They singing, rapping, playing instruments. I don't know, you writing books, doing plays, but you can't get it out there unless you got some money behind you. That's what a record label is. You got the product, and they say we can put it out to the whole country, to the whole world. But you got to have money. Michael Jackson had the biggest album ever because he had distribution. Everybody heard it. Everybody heard it. You can have if he would have had Thriller and did it himself independent, nobody would have heard it. But it was on MTV when MTV first started, and they put it out there in Motown 25 and all of that. It was that. So and you'll say, so why is Michael Jackson had the biggest album ever? Look at the time period. There was only CDs and cassettes. We didn't have 100, 200 stations. We had NBC, CBS, NBC, and I know where I was 2733 on them other little stations, and then MTV came around. They didn't want to play black videos, and they finally did. Michael Jackson blew Billie Jean, and that went to that. But we had a small bubble. They promoted Thriller for 2 years. What album can you promote today for 2 years without getting drowned out by everything else coming out from it? About everything but PYT and I don't know if Human Nature, about almost all the songs came out as singles. Just like they did on the Bad album. The pool was so small then that they could promote it for 2 years. And it came from America. What was the main country? America. So if Rome was the main country, their Thriller was the canon Bible, Old New Testament. They had the money to put it out, the money to mass produce it, the money to send it out there. And today it's the biggest selling book, but it ain't the most read book. Everybody might have one, but I'll tell you what they don't do. They don't read it. They have one, but they don't read it. They read a passage here, a passage there, a passage here. And they read what they tell them to read, but they don't read the whole thing. That's why when I started reading all of it, I was like, hold on. What he's saying in that pulpit ain't true. He's skipping over. He's leaving out key parts of the story. You're not telling the whole story. What was I watching today? Michael, well, no, it wasn't him. It was comedian J.B. Ball. And he was saying how these folks wanted to cancel Snow White. The story Snow White, y'all know that because the prince, whoever kissed her without her consent. So they wanted to cancel that. And he kissed her, she didn't consent to it. But he said y'all are skipping the whole story that if he didn't kiss her, she'd be dead. And it said only thing could be broken was true love's kiss, something to that effect, right? So we didn't look at the Snow White story. Oh, he raped her because he kissed her while she was asleep. If he didn't kiss her, guess what? She wasn't gonna wake up. It's like keep it in line with the story. Go to the whole story. Go through the whole story, and don't just skip to the part where he kissed her without her consent. And that's what they do with the Bible. They pick and choose without understanding the whole story or the whole passage. No, read the whole chapter. Read everything. Read the whole thing to get the full picture of what it actually says. For those that believe it. If you don't believe it, you ain't got to read it. It's nonsense in a way. You ain't got to read it. But for those that read it, don't read a passage. Read the whole chapter. Read the whole book before you make a conclusion. Read the whole thing. That's all I'm saying. So, I've been 42 minutes on this video. So look, I just wanted to drop something. Let y'all know I'm still out here. Oh, my whole thing was, like I said, most of these apologies, y'all probably went this far. Anyway, I'm going to say it again. Most of them, they're not making videos right now. So, I don't know what's going on in their world. Or some of them ready to come to the light side. They think it's the dark side, but it's really the light side because all the knowledge and information is on the side where you get away from the Bible and Christianity. This is the side where you actually learn and grow, you know? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I'm all at the end talking about some like and subscribe. It should be in the video, I don't know. But I appreciate y'all for following me and the comments and everything. And I will see y'all in the next video. Live long and prosper. Do good. Do well. Love people. Treat people right. That's all I can say. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.